What's going on, everybody? It's Aaron here, your Supreme Leader, and today for this video, I'm going to be teaching y'all how, the in and outs of Gunpla. So, normally, when I do Gunpla Hanger, y'all see me just do the build. You don't hear me talk a whole lot about, what the in and outs of working on Gunpla are. But here, I'm going to try to show y'all kind of a few tips and tricks, kind of get you, kind of educate you a little bit on the Gunpla hobby, so that way y'all can kind of understand what the community is, what the hobby is. It's a very fun hobby. There's a very big community behind it, and they're super supportive. There's so much you can learn from it. There's so much. It's a really rewarding hobby. So right off the rip, I want to talk a little bit about what it means to build. So the hobby itself started back in the 80s, I want to say, with the original kits for the show Mobile Suit Gundam, which appeared in 79, I think. With that, the kits were very basic and sort of like, here, I'll show you a kit that's kind of a replica of what those kits are like. Okay, I grabbed the wrong box, but anyway, back in the day, you would get a box kind of like this, and it had no grading on it. You'll notice there's no grading. It just tells you the name of the kit. Very basic kit, and once put together, there's not a lot of detail. You had to paint these things, and if you wanted to add more detail, you don't have to paint them now. They're kind of all done. But I really didn't get into it until the early 2000s, with Gundam Wing being so popular. And with that being a popular series, I built many of these kits, which are now considered no grades. But this is a basic Gunpla kit, and it's a fun hobby. There's a lot of pieces to them. It takes a little while to build, and you can customize them, you can design them yourself, you can make your own suit. They even have what we call kit bashing and stuff like that. So that's a basic Gundam right there. That's kind of an easy starter kit if you're ever looking. But let's go ahead and get into a little bit about the hobby itself. So one of the things I always recommend is that you get a toolkit, and this is my toolkit, guys. This is what I usually carry with me, or what I usually have with me. In it, I usually have a cutting mat, and this allows me to kind of keep my pieces all on a flat surface that I can see. A pair of nippers goes a long way. You don't have to go out and buy expensive nippers. There are some pretty expensive tools out there for this hobby. I don't necessarily recommend it unless you're really getting into being professional with it, or trying to be as good as, trying to be really perfect at building. A good set of tools will also be a pair of tweezers. I keep a pair of curved tweezers as well as some needle nose tweezers, just because they're very good to have. Panel lining is something you can do, and a good panel line marker goes a long way. There's some files. This kit came with some screwdrivers, some files, stuff like that, because I know that the bigger the kit, the more likely they're going to incorporate things like, the older kits used to incorporate screws to kind of hold parts in and keep some things together. Like some of the older, bigger kits would have a tiny screw or two that you had to put in. Nowadays, most everything is, I'm trying to think of where snap together. There's no glue required. And here's a good thing I recommend to keep with you. They do sell model cement, but if you're in a pinch and can't find it anywhere, or you can't really order it right now, go to your local Walmart or big box store, or go to a dollar store and get you some clear fingernail polish. That works just as well, guys. And I learned that from my friend over at Shade Tree Hobbies, Alan, and another friend of mine, Joey Dukes, who is a great, and I'm not going to give out their information too much, because they are, just awesome guys, and I don't want to give out too much information about them. But again, I bought that tool kit for 20 or 30 bucks. Or no, not even 30 bucks, 20 bucks. No, that was a $18 kit, because it comes with a little side grind, like a little fingernail grinder is what it really is. Alright, so let's get into talking a little bit about, like, what you can, what all kits you can buy. Now, there are no grades, which, again, no grades have, again, there's no grading on the box. There's no grading up here. It doesn't really tell you. This used to be considered what they call a high grade, or an HG, but, oh, that box is dusty. I store these in my bedroom, in the box still, because I haven't got a good stand yet, like a good display case yet. I want to find a good display case that I can stand them up in. But this is pretty much a no grade. These are replicas of the old Gundam Wing kits. In fact, this may actually be one of the older Gundam Wing kits. This was made in 2000 by Bandai. So yeah, this is an older Gundam Wing kit, and this is probably about a 144. Just to kind of give you a comparison in sizes, I don't have anything bigger than a 1/100 in my inventory right now. Those kits tend to be very easy, 45 minutes to an hour, not super difficult. Just like the first grades. First grades are, and as you can see it says right here, FG02. That is a first grade kit. So first grade, or first Gundam, as it's also known. FG is, you'll notice that it has the FG kind of on the bottom of the box rather than anywhere around here. And this is a 1999 made in Japan on the box. So FGs were kind of the brand new ones. This is from Bandai Spirits, by the way. You'll notice a lot of times with Bandai's, with kits like that Bandai makes those directly. Usually some of these other ones, you'll notice that Bluefin is another big player in this. But no grades and first grades are kind of the same thing. They don't have a lot of detail. There is some with no grades or with first grades. There's not a lot of. I don't think there's any decals. I don't remember putting any decals on this. Whereas with no grades, you do get decals. Decals are kind of like your common placement item. Next up, you have, and these are kind of popular with, people wanting to build the Super Deform series from the Super Deform SD Gundam series. But this is an SD kit or Super Deform kit. They're very chibi, chibi, and they're kind of built. You can actually kind of use the SD form or the SD items with a HG kit. They the weapons and tools and all that kind of fit with the HG to kind of make it look an HG 144. Again, these are super simple. Really, they can be super simple to super complex. The SD Sengoku, I can never say it right, but it's the one based off of the War of the Three Kingdoms kind of deal, is very much a little more difficult. They have a lot of armor to them. This one right here is probably going to be just a little bit touchy. I can't wait to actually put that one together one day, but that's based off of my favorite suit anyway, Death Scythe. Those kits range usually from about, they're very cheap. SD kits, and most SD and most first grade, no grades usually go about $7 to $8. That's usually on your low end, anywhere up to $10. So not too terribly expensive, and they're easy to find. You can find them on almost any store. They're usually kept pretty cleanly, or not cleanly, but kept pretty well stocked. Next up, and I want to show this off. This is a high grade kit, and you can always tell because it says HG. There's a gold HG label on the front that's painted into the packaging. And this is from the Iron-Blooded Orphans series, and the reason you can usually tell Iron-Blooded Orphans is there's usually more markings for Iron-Blooded Orphans there. And it'll also tell you kind of on the bottom here, but this is Gundam Vidar. I've been wanting to build this one for a while, but I've kind of put this one off to the back burner. IBO kits are a lot more mechanical now. They're more detailed because these suits are very detailed. And let's take out I'm going to take an HG out of the box real quick, just to kind of show you what I'm talking about when it comes down to, okay, this one's not opened all the way. Some Gunpla stores will actually tape them. Some will actually have like two thin plastic strips that kind of hold the box together. And some will actually shrink wrap them. So you get these different boxes here, and this is a 1144 kit. Again, in size comparison, usually almost all of your HGs can go from 144 to 1100. It's very rare you get a 160, which is, so in model comparison, 1144 would be like, and I'll talk a little bit more about the sizing after I get done displaying all these, but just to show you an idea of what a kit looks like on the inside, I've shown you a few times in Gunpla Hanger, but a 1144 kit usually comes with, you know, 2 or 3, you know, 2 to 6 runners, some poly caps, and labels or decals. Instructions are always included as well with almost every kit you get. I mean, every kit you get is going to have instructions, because you have to have instructions to build. I keep hitting my mic. That drives me nuts. I gotta push it there. But here's what your runners look like. Usually they're color matched to what the suit actually looks like. And usually your darker parts are more internals, or for, you know, different items or things of that nature. But again, this is Vidar, which is an Iron-Blooded Orphans kit. They're also, another cool fact about these kits is they usually have a number designated here to let you know what number it is in that suit, in that series. So Vidar is number 27 in that series, which there are a lot of kits in the Iron-Blooded Orphans series. And again, a 1144 is a good starting Gundam, and HG is also a good starting Gundam. First grades are really good if you're not comfortable with it. So after HGs come master grades. Now master grades normally are 1100s. This is the Crossbone Gundam X1 full cloth edition. Again, a super huge kit. And again, like I was telling y'all, if you see the packaging here, you'll notice that it's not saran wrapped or shrink wrapped. The box isn't taped, but instead it's held together with these plastic straps that I can hold the box with. To show you one in comparison to that, to what I showed you a second ago, a 1100 kit, I do not have any built. I may have one built. I may actually have one built. And it's usually around 9 inches tall. They're pretty huge kits, and they have a lot of runners to them. So just to kind of show you, this is the box art, and you can always tell good box art, but master grade kits always have a golden MG up here at the top. You're always going to see a golden MG. Here are the runners, usually, and as you can see, the pieces are a lot bigger on these kits. And there's a lot of runners, a lot of decals as well. You can see there's like 3 sets of decals. I'm still going with runners. There's a ton of runners in this. And I'm super excited to build a master grade. I've actually got a master grade I'm doing for Gunpla 50, or Gunpla Hanger 50. So I want to make sure this evens out so I can close that box again. And I'll probably put them in backwards, but here is the manual for that, and you can see it's a lot bigger, and the instructions are pretty well detailed. There's also smaller pieces added to these because 1100s tend to have a lot more stuff to them. I see a ton of decals in there, and I'm super excited for this kit. Decals kind of freak me out a little bit because sometimes I'm not the steadiest person. So, but that's a 1100 master grade. Master grades tend, like I said, they tend to be the 1100s. You rarely ever see a master grade that's like a 1144 or anything bigger than that. Just because master grades require a lot of detail. They're not the hardest grade though. There are harder grades out there. And again, I recommend HGs for anybody starting out or anybody just wanting a quick build. Finally, I don't have perfect grades. I can never find a perfect grade. But the next ones we have up are real grades, like this Gundam Mark II Titans edition. And it's Titans because, as you can see, it's from some of the older series suits. And this is RX 178. And the Titans were one of the villains in like a later series, and like one of the later series from the original Universal Century. But this is a real grade, and you can always find real grades by their marking here. They tend to be a little pricier. There's a lot more to building a real grade. But just to kind of show you, there's some parts from the real grade there. You can see that there's a lot of internal workings. You actually build the skeleton first before you put the armor on. And there's a lot of decal work to them. You can see there's tons of decals in this right here that I'm a little bit scared of. I hope they don't like water slides, which is good. Water slides always freak me out a little bit. But their manuals are also very... And the real grades are awesome because you actually build the kit to actually work as, you know... The best way to describe it is it actually has more movability. Here are the instructions on the back for decals to kind of show you how all the decals work on there. I like that. You don't have to like put the decals on the whole time you're building. You actually do it afterwards. So that may be something I do later. But it shows you like in detail how to build the frames, how to build the hands, how to build the legs, everything. Basically your frame can give you, there's a lot of different stuff on here. So your frame, the frame itself is bendable, posable, all that stuff like that. And it's not a bad kit. A lot of weapons, a lot of tools, and the manual is really well detailed. So I definitely recommend RGs once you get a little more comfortable building. And once you have a little bit of build time under your belt, RGs become super easy to do. I've got friends that, like I said, I've got friends that do a lot of building, like Shade Tree Hobbies Alan, and you know other people like I've named off a group. Like I've got a build group. That's another thing too. Form a build group. You can meet a lot of amazing people that do this hobby and that are in this hobby for the fun of it. And I'll tell you right now, build groups make it a lot more fun for me. I love a build group. If you've never gotten involved with a group, or if you've never found somebody who can actually like teach you some tricks, find somebody. Find a group. It's always fun to build in groups. If you can't, there are great communities out there. Like if you're on TikTok, the Gunpla TikTok community can help you in ways. I've met a lot of people who kind of like, they'll see the builds and they'll comment, and then they'll also be like, have you tried painting? Get comfortable with painting. You can paint these kits. You can do a little more detail work to them. There's also, you know, Gunpla communities out there. Now, here's the thing. Purchasing a kit. Many hobby shops, like Hobby Lobby or, you know, your local game shops sometimes carry Gunpla. I know for me, the local shop here is one in the city of Summerville, South Carolina, called Final Round Game Shop. They carry a lot of kits, and I usually go out there if I've got to go to Summerville. It's a long ride for me. It's like an hour and a half an hour drive just to get there. So going to Final Round's a really cool place if you want to find like some good deals. Another great place to look is online. There are multiple stores online. There's Gundam Pros, USA Gundam Store, which I use USA Gundam Store a lot because they're based out of Florida. It's closer shipping to me. New Type is good if I can't find kits on USA Gundam Store, or if I'm looking for something that's kind of rare, because they get a lot of the straight from Japan shipping. They're based out of San Francisco, so it's another great company. Gundam Pros is based out of New Bedford, Massachusetts, which is really cool because got some there's some family that. Or that's like some family history there with New Bedford. I don't want to give out too much information on that, but you'll always find a kit for you, and that's another thing too, is build what you love. Don't go out and buy every kit thinking you're going to build them all, because it's going to take you a while to go through all your kits, especially if you're like me and you're doing this weekly. I build a kit a week usually it's a kit a week. And I love kits. In fact, I love building. Building is a great hobby. It's a good stress reliever for me. I've got a pretty massive collection now of Gundams, and I recommend the hobby if you if you're looking for something new, or if you're just getting into this and this video helps you, hey, I'm glad I can help you. But there's one final wave that I didn't have, and that's perfect grades, and they usually can range anywhere from like the 1/144 to about 160 size. And again, I'm talking about scaling. 1/144, it would take 144 of those Gundams, of those kits, to stack up tall enough to build an actual Gundam. 1/100, it'd take 100, and 160 would take 60. 160s are usually about a foot tall, if I'm not mistaken, if not a little bit taller. Sometimes maybe like a foot and a half. But they're really, really nice looking kits. And then there's even bigger kits, and there's even bigger grades. But perfect grade is the final grade you'll find, and that was the one I missed out on. But anyway, guys, that's it for today's video. I hope you found this video kind of educational in a way, or maybe if you're into the hobby and you saw something I missed, let me know in the comments. I'm glad to take what you know, and I can put it in a future video. But that's it for today's video. Thank y'all so much for watching. Make sure y'all like, comment, and subscribe. Y'all can follow me on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and Discord. Leave a comment below, as well as TikTok. Leave a comment below. Let me know what you thought of today's video, or if you'd like to see me do more tutorial videos, I'd be glad to do that. Check the links in the description for all of my awesome friends, as well as their awesome works, as well as links to our merch shop, where you can snag some awesome merch for not a bad price. But anyway, comrades, thank y'all so much for watching. Much love, and das vidanya.